The restaurant went silent. Every eye turned toward the young waitress standing there, her hands trembling as the manager's harsh words echoed through the room. She looked small, fragile, on the verge of tears. And then, from across the room, a man's calm voice broke through the tension. "She's with me," he said. The billionaire heiress sitting across from him froze mid-bite. Everyone did. No one knew that those 3 quiet words would change all their lives forever. Before we dive into this heartwarming story, take a moment to subscribe to Whispers of Goodness. Here, we share true and inspired stories that remind us the world still has beautiful souls. If you believe in the power of kindness, hit the like button, share this video, and tell us in the comments what kindness means to you. Now, let's begin. Michael wasn't supposed to be there that night. He was a single dad, a mechanic who spent most of his evenings fixing cars and trying to make dinner before his daughter Lily fell asleep. But that Friday night, his boss had handed him 2 dinner vouchers as a thank you for covering extra shifts. "Go treat yourself," his boss said. Michael almost didn't go. Fancy restaurants weren't his thing. But Lily had been begging for a daddy-daughter night, and he couldn't say no. So, wearing his one good shirt, he took her hand and walked into La Finestra, the nicest restaurant in town. Lily was 7, bubbly, curious, and always asking questions. She sat across from her dad, her big brown eyes taking in the sparkling chandeliers and the white tablecloths. "Daddy, it feels like a princess castle," she whispered. Michael smiled. "Then tonight, you're my princess." Everything was perfect for about 15 minutes. Then, the trouble started. At the next table sat a woman named Evelyn Hart, heir to the Hart Industries fortune. Her name often appeared in business magazines and charity galas. But tonight, she was simply tired. Tired of pretending to be perfect, tired of fake smiles. She noticed the single dad and his little girl when they first walked in. There was something so genuine about the way they laughed together, like nothing else in the world mattered. It tugged at something deep inside her, a loneliness she rarely admitted to herself. Then came the waitress. Her name was Sophie. She was new, nervous, and already on thin ice after spilling a tray of drinks earlier that week. When she arrived at Evelyn's table, her hands shook slightly as she placed down the wine. A tiny drop splashed onto the white linen. Evelyn's guest, a pompous businessman trying to impress her, snapped. "Can't you do anything right?" he barked. The manager, hearing the commotion, rushed over. "Sophie, that's it. Go home. You're done here." Sophie's face went pale. "Please, sir, no excuses," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. The restaurant fell into a thick, uncomfortable silence. That's when Michael stood up. He didn't yell or make a scene. He just walked over, gently placed a hand on Sophie's shoulder, and said softly, "She's with me." The words hung in the air like a mystery. The manager frowned. "Excuse me." Michael smiled calmly. "She's with me. We were supposed to have her at our table tonight. My daughter wanted to thank her for being so kind last time we came in for takeout." That was a lie. He'd never met Sophie before. But something in his tone made people stop and listen. He continued, "She's been working hard all evening. It's just a little spill. Everyone makes mistakes." The billionaire heiress watched silently, her fork frozen halfway to her mouth. No one had ever spoken to a manager like that in her world. Not for a waitress. Not with such quiet strength. The manager hesitated, clearly flustered. Then he muttered something about giving her another chance and walked away. Sophie looked up at Michael, her eyes wide and wet. "Thank you," she whispered. Michael smiled. "We all need someone to stand with us once in a while." Evelyn couldn't stop watching. After a moment, she stood and walked over to Michael's table. "That was kind of you," she said quietly. Michael shrugged. "Just seemed like the right thing to do." Lily, ever the chatterbox, grinned up at her. "My daddy says kindness is like a boomerang. It always comes back." Evelyn smiled for the first time that night. "Your daddy sounds very wise." Michael chuckled. "He tries." They exchanged a few words, but something unspoken passed between them. A moment of genuine connection that neither expected. A week later, Michael got a call from an unknown number. It was Sophie, the waitress. She explained that after that night, Evelyn had spoken to the restaurant owner and arranged for Sophie to get a promotion and a scholarship fund to finish college. She said it was because someone reminded her what real kindness looks like. Sophie said, "I just wanted to thank you." Michael was stunned. That wasn't me. That was Evelyn. But when he hung up, he realized It was both of them. A few months later, Michael and Lily were at the park, feeding ducks. When a sleek black car pulled up, Evelyn stepped out, dressed simply but elegantly, holding 2 paper cups of coffee. "I hope I'm not interrupting," she said, walking over. Lily's face lit up. "You're the princess from the restaurant." Evelyn laughed. "I think that's you, sweetheart." She turned to Michael. "I wanted to thank you. That night, you reminded me what my father used to tell me before he passed. He said, money can build buildings, but kindness builds people. I'd forgotten that." Michael nodded. "Gus, we all need reminding sometimes." They sat on a bench sipping coffee, watching Lily chase the ducks. Evelyn told him she had started a new foundation, one that helped single parents get job training and childcare support. She called it the Second Chance Project. Michael couldn't believe it. "You did all that because of one night?" Evelyn smiled softly. "Because of one act of kindness." As the months turned into a year, their paths crossed more often. Sometimes Evelyn would join Michael and Lily for ice cream, or stop by his repair shop with her car. She liked how grounded he was, how he never treated her like she was made of gold, only like she was human. And though neither of them said it aloud, something gentle began to bloom between them. A friendship that quietly deepened into something more. One evening, Evelyn invited Michael and Lily to a small charity dinner. The tables were filled with people dressed in glitter and silk, but Evelyn stayed close to them, smiling as Lily tugged on her sleeve to tell her stories. Then came a familiar voice. It was the same restaurant manager from that night, now working at the event. He didn't recognize Michael at first, but when he did, his face turned red. Evelyn raised her glass. "Everyone, I want to share a story about a night when a man stood up for someone he didn't even know. He didn't do it for praise or attention. He did it because it was right." She turned toward Michael, her eyes warm. That simple act of kindness changed more lives than he could imagine. It reminded me that goodness doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. The crowd clapped. Michael blushed, looking down. Lily tugged his sleeve and whispered, "Daddy, they're clapping for you." Evelyn smiled. "For all of us who choose kindness, even when it's hard." After the event, as they stood outside under the city lights, Evelyn looked at him. "You know," she said softly, "when you said, 'she's with me,' that night I think those words stuck with me. I've been waiting for someone to say them all my life." Michael smiled, his eyes kind. "Well, you're with us now." She looked at Lily, who was giggling and twirling in her little dress, and something inside her melted. For the first time in years, she felt like she belonged, not to a family name, not to a fortune, but to something real. Kindness doesn't need grand gestures or deep pockets. Sometimes it's a quiet voice that says, "She's with me," when someone else is alone. That night in the restaurant, one small act of courage rippled outward, saving a job, inspiring a billionaire, and building a family that no one saw coming. And that's the beauty of kindness. It doesn't just change others, it transforms us. So next time you see someone struggling, remember Michael's words. Speak gently, stand with them. Because you never know who might be watching and whose heart your kindness will awaken. If this story touched your heart, please like this video. Share it with someone who could use a reminder of hope, and subscribe to Whispers of Goodness for more true stories that warm the soul. Because every whisper of kindness becomes an echo that changes the world.